If you only design for broad niches using broad appeal designs, then you are leaving money on the table. And that's because with these broad niches come heavy competition. But if you break that big idea and broad niche into 3 different targeted audiences, then you're going to be way more likely to make sales. So let's go ahead and jump into how we can do that together. Okay, so here we are with our starter image. This starter image is using a very broad appeal type design. It's a boho/bohemian style design with some nice books on a bookshelf and the flowers growing from between the pages and the books. And here's the prompt that got us that image. And we're going to take this very broad appeal design and we're going to break it into different target markets to make it easier for us to get sales. Because if we are very specific when we target our target customer, then we are more likely to end up in a position where we don't have as many issues with competition. There are tons of this type of design out there, but we're going to go into different design styles and include different elements in order to do targeted marketing and targeted designing that gets us more sales. So it should be no surprise to you here that we are in ChatGPT again. We've started a new chat, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this prompt that got us that base image, and we're going to go ahead and ask for different options that we could use to target different customers. And if we're trying to do this and we already know what target customer we're going for, like I do, I have 3 in mind already just by thinking about it based on my previous print-on-demand experience. But we could actually let's do it together. Let's ask for different potential niches of readers. Okay, so one of the design styles I was thinking about doing, which this dark academia boho is very much exactly what I was thinking about, did show up here, and a cross niche that I was thinking about doing is also here with the cat lover boho. So we're going to go ahead and take those 2 and see what we can do with it. And the third one that I was thinking about doing was in the medieval fantasy / castlecore niche, because these are all demographics that make sense with the reading niche. So let's go ahead and instruct ChatGPT to do that for us. Okay, so all we did was say, I like dark academia, cat lover, and castlecore as ideas. Can you start with making a dark academia prompt? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to drop it into Sora, because Sora can also generate images for us. We could go to 1.1. We'll drop this in here and we'll get that processing. And then at the same time, we're going to run the next prompt. And then we'll have it run the Castlecore 1.2. And we can do 1 on a new ChatGPT chat. Okay, so here we are with our dark academia one. I think that some of the details are a little bit too textured and might get lost. So we're going to ask for it to adjust up the brightness and reduce the textures in the background. Okay, nice. That fits the theme quite well. It's going to be easier to remove that background. So we'll go ahead and download that. And let's drag these all in and look at them together. Okay, so here we are with our final lineup. We got our original image over here. We've got Castlecore over here, which is a trending design style that's on the rise. We've got dark academia over here, which fits its own different target market. And we have the cat cross niche here, which takes 2 wildly popular niches and puts them together. And we could stop here, and I probably would stop here and take these images and upscale or vectorize them and then put those on the market. But we can go further than that by using ChatGPT to create an even more targeted design by adding a phrase that works in the niche. So we'll go ahead and do that together. And we're going to take this and we're going to remind ChatGPT of what it was doing. So with dark academia, there tends to be more of an emphasis on like Wiccan cultures and different kind of witchy, occult leaning types of designs. And we've already got this beautiful looking arch here with the plants. So let's ask for more details to spruce up this design. So something that I can imagine working well is add some gold filigree to the book bindings. That'll make it look a little bit more like an expensive tome, which is a very dark academia, gothic type of thing. I do want to include phrases, and since we have that arch up there, I want to put some text there. And let's see what kind of text makes sense. So let's go with the whole witchy thing. Can you give me some popular Wiccan phrases in Latin? Okay, so let's just do a quick sanity check to make sure that it does exist. As above, so below. Okay, so it appears to be a real phrase, and sometimes ChatGPT will lead you astray. So make sure that you are checking these things in Google. We're going to add the phrase in an arch above the design, and we will see how that turns out. Okay, so while we have that going on, let's think about what we can do over here with the castle core type bookshelf style. Can you give me phrases for medieval fantasy readers? Okay, none of that is making a ton of sense to me. So let's lean more into the fantasy thing. And so let's target this more. How about shifting it toward getting lost in a fantasy book? Okay, so none of this is fully on target, but it did get my mental juices going. And I thought about the fact that we're thinking about fantasy realms when we're in medieval fantasy and castle core. So how about something more like escaping reality themed? So we're dealing with AI, and this is just giving us a dump of potential ideas. It's not the best at choosing phrases for us, but what it does do is get you kind of thinking. So reading this made me think about fantasy realms and escaping reality. So how about we go with something like, what about currently escaping reality in my fantasy realm? Can you use the previous castle core prompt? So we asked for it to use our previous prompt, and it integrated this here. We knew we wanted the arch in this one. Let's take a look at this image. We could also do it in an arch, but I think that the best way to make it happen with this design is to include both an arch and a bottom text. And instead of just relying on AI to do that for us, we should take the initiative and use ChatGPT's power. And its power is being able to take complex instructions in the prompt. So let's make it change the prompt, and then we'll adjust it if we need to. So this should theoretically return something that is better for us. So this worked. We've got this gold filigree, which makes the books look older. We've got this candle, which is a part of dark academia. We've got dark flowers, and we've got the Latin up here. That's a very popular Wiccan phrase. So we've hit things from multiple angles, and we've made this a pretty solid design, all using ChatGPT. What I would do in post is take these words and make them bigger, but we could also just see, can you make the text bigger? Okay, so another solid option and a solid layout here. I think that compositionally, this is probably a better option because it fills the space a little bit better than this, but I would say that if we could take this and make it just a little bit bigger, it might be a little bit better. But both of these make sense on a t-shirt, and both are relatively likely to make sales. So let's go ahead and see what happens when we input our castle core prompt into ChatGPT. Okay, so while I really enjoy this design, I do think that if we want to process this more easily, we're going to need to change some things about it. Okay, so here's our adjustments. Can you take out the glowing to make the background flat for processing? And can you clean up the text to make it look neater and centered? So while that's going, let's work on our cat cross niche. Okay, so I had a gander through these, and I think that the best of the options we have is probably my cat and I prefer other realms. So let's go ahead and ask for it to use the original prompt and include those words. Okay, so we're going to get the prompt there, and here we go. We can go ahead and run this. This looks a lot better. This looks like it's going to be far easier to process. It's still not perfect when it comes to this balance here. So if I were to make it perfect, I would probably rotate this part of the image after removing the background. And you could do that whether you're using vectors or raster images. It's not going to be an incredibly difficult lift to do that very minor image processing. So let's see what we get from the cat niche prompt. Okay, I enjoy this composition. It's going to be easy to process, but it has a typo. So let's have ChatGPT check for typos. Okay, so it was able to find its typo, so hopefully it can fix that for us. Okay, awesome. It fixed it. So now we can go ahead and look at what we got for our final cross niches using all of our AI escapades, right? So we started over here with a very generic boho bookshelf, and then we took that and we got a dark academia slant, and then we further developed it to match that target audience even more. And then we took it to the castle core niche, and we have all of this beautiful detail. And then we found a phrase that goes with that niche. And then we took it over to the cat cross niche, and then we found a phrase that works for that niche. Okay, so I hope you found that helpful. I think it's very important to develop the skill to go from a broader niche into something that is smaller, more targeted, and just a piece of the audience, and really nailing a design for a targeted subset of an audience. Doing this really changes who you're competing with and can give you a competitive edge because there will be fewer people willing to do that kind of work, and the design will ultimately speak more to specific people. And we have to keep in mind that we are designing for people. Okay, so the whole process here started with prompts. If you want to learn how to make designs without any prompts whatsoever using ChatGPT, check out this video over here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in that video.